you muted?
How about now?
Oh, that's perfect.
All right.
Did you bring some for everybody?
What, the gum? No.
Is your chewing gum lose its flavor on the bedpost overnight?
Well, whenever I feel like I need it, what you can't see is sitting right off to the side here is a box of Nicorette gum.
Oh, I see.
Anti-smoking stuff.
Oh, that's smart. That's smart.
So it's been a month and 29 days now.
That you quit smoking?
Yeah. Second time around.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Tough habit.
oh, yeah, I know. I know. Cost
Yeah,
me
but
my ass.
look at my habit.
Yeah, well, you know, when you had a colonoscopy and they put your ass about 2 inches away from your belly button,
Oh, wow.
you know, you tend to look
Yeah.
at things differently.
Yeah. Do you have an internal or external bag?
It's external.
Yeah, I have a feeling that those are easier to work with.
Well, a couple of guys that we went to school with, one I still haven't gotten over yet. The other one was Jimmy Burke, or James Michael Burke.
Yeah.
He graduated with us.
I remember the name.
He lived down here with his dad for a while.
Uh-huh.
After his dad retired, and he was with his dad until he died, and he was into hot rods, cars, whatever. He owned part of a speed shop down here, they tell me. But he ended up with cancer.
Uh-oh.
Got another one.
Here's Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Welcome back, Dave.
So
Hey,
anyhow,
excuse me, Dave. Your
little dark.
window is, what do you call it? Brighting, turning you into a silhouette.
That's marginally better.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you could close you since these do not have high dynamic range. You may want to either put a sheer or close your curtain.
Yeah.
It create a super bright background. And George, do you have something you could pull over that window so it's not?
It's
Is that your only light source?
no, it's not my only light source, but I don't know if that does any better.
No. No, you still have the whole window.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's the way it is. I can kill this. That might help a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
But it's
Yeah.
hard. Anyhow.
We want you beauties to have dynamic lighting.
Oh, right. Dynamic lighting. Yeah, okay. Like I was saying, Burke had ended up with cancer. And
Tell Dave who you're talking about. Tell Dave who you're talking about.
Jimmy Burke, James Michael Burke. He lived up in off Temple, Allentown Road, up, forget what the community was called now. But
Well, he wasn't a Clinton boy, right?
no, he was not a Clinton boy. His dad was an acoustical engineer working out of Andrews.
Really?
And it was all part of that when they put the thing in, all the service personnel that moved into that area.
Right.
Homes, you know. Hello, Dave. You're looking like you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Well, anyhow, West Westchester. Westchester sounds familiar to me. I don't know.
Yeah, Westchester was Phil Foster, Ron Rash,
Yeah,
Kurt Massey, Chuck
yeah,
Dubner,
yeah.
that
All up in
crowd.
that area.
That's where we used to have water balloon fights in the cars.
Oh, let's not talk about that.
Did
Not
you
me,
have?
man.
I didn't necessarily enjoy being up on top of that water tower while the police were looking for us.
Oh, well, I wasn't part of that either. So,
I'm sorry. Mine all went to drag racing down Route 5. Before and
yeah,
after it became a dual lane highway.
yeah, yeah. That was a nice playground for Mike Davis and me to ride our horses. We used to ride along there and see who we could get to wave to us, and if they were pretty girls, we'd race after them, give them some excitement. Yeah, yeah.
Well,
So what
anyhow,
happened to Burke? Tell us about Burke, Michael.
he, here you go. I got one for you. Both my best men at my weddings were both graduated from our class.
Cool.
First time was Burke when I got married the first time. Second one was Kenny Flynn.
Okay.
Kenny French.
Flynn, Flynn.
Oh, Flynn. Okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Actually, it's Edward Kenneth Flynn. He never went by his first name. I was really broken up when he died.
Do you know what didn't he take a fall downstairs, or he had a
He
blackout
died
or
from
something and fell?
as far as I'm concerned, he died from a broken heart.
Yeah,
He was,
his wife left him, huh?
yeah, his second wife. What is this? We've all been married twice. Burke was married twice. I've been married twice. Kenny was married twice. 3 times. You
I
been
gotta
married
get it in
3
my camera.
times?
Here we go. Yeah, third time's a charm.
Oh yeah, right.
Well, you know what they call the first and second marriage,
Practice.
right?
Has it been 52, 53 years that we've been married? 68?
I
When
was married 37 the first time, and 15 this last time. Oh, and as to that, the other day I was having a little mind-boggling, going the wrong way. Pat was 72 when she passed away, not 73 or 4, whatever.
yeah,
I
you
said.
said 4.
Yeah, no, she was 73. She was 72. She would have been 73 on her birthday, which was less than a month from when she passed. Now, as an addendum to the other stuff, because I go a little crazy around here, the modeling. After I came back from Vietnam, I was looking for some sort of hobby to do over again. That's where the modeling came in, and I was getting kind of hurt playing pickup football games on Sundays. Tackle football games, no equipment. Okay.
It sounds like rugby.
Yeah, that, and I was autocrossing, if you know what that is.
Yeah.
All right.
Motocrossing or autocross?
Autocross.
Okay, that's motocrossing with cars, right?
Kind of, yeah, but we're not.
You talk
And,
about four-wheelers?
No, I'm talking about regular sports cars. I've had a couple of them over the
Oh,
years.
so you're not off-road, you're still on the
No,
road?
you're on pavement.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah.
We used to,
Basically, it's a timed race usually, isn't it?
it's against time. You're on
Yeah.
the course by yourself. Most of the time you're on the course by yourself, except when they um, remember the Marlboro racetrack?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we used to run there too. And that was more or less open, just an open track, one vehicle at a time.
Oval.
No, the sports car track.
Let me interrupt for
Oh.
just a second, George. Did you ever read the book then, Migala, 1,000 Miles in Italian? It's the-
Mille Amelia.
It's the what
Yeah,
race
from
from
point A to point B.
from some Sweden down to the lower end of Italy, I think it is.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's,
wow. That sounds like a good book. Is it in English or Italian?
English.
Oh, okay.
but autocrossing started taking up too much money.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
Just a minute. My wife is yelling. We're headed off down to the pool. I will get down there and I'll see if I can connect back in. Okay.
okay, good enough. I'll
All
look
right.
for you. Thanks for coming on. If,
All right. Just take a minute.
but we're going to talk about George's models.
Well, basically, when gotta remember to stay close. With the autocross thing going down, and 2 kids, a dog, a house, a wife, a mortgage. It was time to get into something a little bit cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's when I hooked up with, there was a place called the Squadron Shop, which was out on Sligo Avenue, just inside the district line. When I first went over there, it was a good, a really good hobby shop, but it was done strictly for the static modeler. It wasn't for the guys who flew or remote control or anything like that.
Right.
And they tanks, armor, figures, that kind of stuff. And from that, I landed into, you were asking Sandy about traveling the other day. And I was thinking, well, I joined the IPMS in 1972 in DC.
What
That's
is
the
that?
International Plastic Modeler Society.
Oh, okay.
It started off in England in the mid 60s, I think.
Yeah,
maybe
they're real big on that.
late 50s. And well, you know, now it's worldwide. I mean, we have chapters all over the world. Name a country, there's probably a chapter there, at least one chapter.
Right.
And travel. Once a year, I traveled, go to the national conventions.
So you got to go to a lot of different countries.
No, not me, because I couldn't afford to go to different countries other than Canada. I've been up to Canada twice.
Oh, okay. So you went around the US or?
US, yeah.
Okay.
Last one we had was last year, 2019, yeah. And I wasn't going to go, but my stepdaughter said, come on, you need to get out of your funk.
Mm-hmm.
Pat passed and said, go on to the meeting. So
Right.
last meeting was in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Oh, that's a pretty place.
It's a nice ride. From here to
I wasn't
there,
talking about getting there. I was talking about being there.
yeah, it's okay. This year would have been San Marcos, Texas. But because of coronavirus, all these conventions all over the world are being shut down.
Are they going virtual?
No,
No.
because it's a contest. It's a modeling contest, and what I like to refer to as the world's largest hobby shop.
Right.
They have vendors from all over the United States
Oh, yeah.
and all over the
yeah.
world.
Oh, yeah.
The one in Chattanooga had the guys from Wingnut Wings, which is in New Zealand. They were in for that. We get Russians all the time, Chinese, Japanese,
Cool.
Zukimura, which is in Japan. is a manufacturer. He's there.
Do they make models as accurate as the British did, or do?
That's, if you want to nitpick, you can find a problem with every model that's out there.
Well, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about just the general quality in terms of accuracy. You know, when they build a plastic model, do they identify? You know, show you the rivets, or?
Well, that's a big bone of contention with me.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Airfix models used to have rivets all over them.
Yeah.
And you had to sand them all off to get an accurate feel for the model.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't paint mine.
You know.
But have you gotten in at all to the Dockyard shipbuilding models? Have you seen those?
Little 700 scale ones?
No, I'm talking about
Hold on, Dick.
sure. I'm talking about the ones at let's see, in England, where they would
How's this? Can you see that?
yeah, that's is that the German torpedo boat?
Nope. It's a 80
Oh,
foot
US.
It's an 80 foot Elco in 48 scale. That's a quarter inch equals a foot.
Yeah. I'm talking about the ship models that were built
The wooden plank ones?
in that's right, in anticipation of building the full 100 scale, one over the world actual ship. And I went to the Naval Academy Museum in Annapolis, and they have about 300 models. Maybe that's not right. Anyway, in 1952, a wealthy old son of a sea captain, an old whaler guy. Here's David.
Back in, he made it.
Let's see if he can get on his tablet. Are you on your tablet? David, are you on your tablet?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. Now you got to look at us. You don't look at the girls, huh?
Okay, I'll take my sunglasses off so I can tell.
They're
Oh, yeah, right.
They're 8-year-olds. He's not that far gone.
Oh, okay. I take it that's your wife, not your girlfriend?
That's correct.
Oh, okay.
That's correct. Now, let me see how I can do this.
No, David.
No, it's all right. You can wear your glasses. We just thought you were
No.
you were.
This, I just kind of show you what the pool area looks like. This is it's a condo area.
Right.
And they have all the condos, buildings in here are 2 stories.
Uh-huh.
They're
Townhouse.
townhouses with 3 units in each building,
Uh-huh.
and they're 2 stories.
Cool.
And this is the lower level, and then up there is the upper level where we are. And
So it's built on a hill?
yeah, yes, indeed.
Okie dokie. Cool. Thank you. Thank you for that tour.
Yeah.
If you want to get your GoPro out sometime and do a walkthrough, that would be fun. I've never been to San Diego.
It's really interesting. Despite how many trips we made down here to see the grandchildren, never really realized that it's really an area with a lot of mesas and canyons, even in downtown.
Yeah.
And so we're on a hillside by the river. The river is about, well, for me, it's about a half mile, maybe that direction. So we're about 3 miles from the ocean, which is in where I'm facing,
And what's your elevation?
about 225 feet.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm
That's-
about 125. I mean, no, 20. I'm 37 feet above MSL. And
Okay.
George is even lower than me, I bet.
I don't know.
You better check out.
I'm on a hill.
Oh, you're not in the flood zone, huh? Not in a
Oh, there we
100-year
go.
flood zone?
I am in D.
Oh, okay.
So if
D.
you know the flood zone things, A, B, C, D,
Right. That's like 1,000-year flood.
I'm in D. So
Yeah.
I'm up on the hill. Actually, the guy behind me is a little bit lower, and I'm at the top of the hill.
Right.
So everything runs down from here. You know,
Yeah.
snow, water,
Right.
anything else you want to add into there.
Yeah. Effluent.
Affluent, yes. But I've been to San Diego. Spent 3 days on a ship out there in the harbor, waiting to get the
Okay.
Marine contingent on.
Ah, yeah, there's a whole bunch of them there here right now. They have, I guess directly behind me is where the big Navy station is,
Hmm.
manned mostly by a contractor where they do all the rework of all the ships coming in. And then they have across the bay there is the Coronado Island where
Yeah.
they have more
You
Navy
got,
stuff up there.
you got that mountain on one side and then the harbor on the other side where the ships are all there.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't exactly call this a mountain. You know, it's
Well, the Marines hated it because they had to run up and down it.
oh yeah, it's about 400 feet.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
something you want to do on a regular basis. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was there, they were still flying seaplanes in and out of there. The Navy was.
Well, that Marine base is still there, and in fact, they had a new crop showed up about a month ago now, and they put them up in the hotels from 14 days and made sure they were clean. And then before they would before they went and decide to kill them.
Yeah. Well,
So do they have dry docks there for that
Oh yeah,
ship repair?
yeah. You've probably heard about the big fire they had on one of the boats here.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they said a sailor said it.
Yeah, that's what the news is, that they're investigating one of the sailors for having done it. Now, that boat was moored about maybe 200 yards from where my son Chris has his office,
Mhm.
and he said it was really nice. They for the first couple of days while they were battling the fire, they wouldn't let him anywhere near where he worked, so he got paid to basically stay home and type an occasional report. But it was actually pretty bad. A lot of the air pollution was really bad, and
Yeah.
there was a lot of chemicals in the air,
Yeah.
and it really did a lot of damage. Chris showed me some pictures that maybe people normally didn't see of the inside, and part of the tower where the it got so hot that it kind of melted part of it, and it kind of like started flattening like a bad cake.
Yeah,
It was pretty hot and very intensive. It was well over 1,000 degrees burning in some of them.
Dave, I was just talking to George about inquiring. Have either of you been to the Naval Academy Museum where the class of 52 was given a series of sailing ship or ship of the line models? And many of them were in antique glass cases. I mean, these were everything from a, what do you call it? The first ship of the line, like 90 guns and 3 decks. And one of them is about 300 years old, still had its own silk rigging on it. I will.
I think I recall going to the Navy Academy and taking a tour around there when I was probably 10, 11, 12 years old. And that would have been somewhere like in the mid 50s, I guess.
Yeah, I think we went on a class reunion because somewhere I ran across something where we saw the Tecumseh, the statue of Tecumseh.
And you talk about models, George. My dad worked down at the Navy Yard in Washington, D.C.,
Mm-hmm.
and he brought home two models that they had constructed for the sales purposes and for giving to the admirals and things like that. One of them was a seaplane, and another one was might have been an old Corsair. I kind of forgotten now, but they were really nicely done, very nicely detailed out models. They finally were destroyed in the process of me being a 10-year-old kid.
Yeah. As I was telling Dick, I've been all over the United States and Canada through the International Plastic Modeler Society, which is an international group that started off in England, and now we have chapters all over the world. And other than going to the ones in Canada, I stay mostly here in the United States. And this year, all of the conventions have been canceled here and overseas. So nobody's talking modeling this year. And I go because it's the world's largest hobby shop.
What's your basic
Wait,
building material?
Just a second.
Balsa? What's your
No.
name, George?
No, it's plastic.
Plastic.
How are you?
Plastic, resin, fiberglass.
Do you sculpt your own forms, or are they kits?
I can usually, when you're building your own form, I use styrofoam, the stuff that they make they use for insulation form, because the stuff that you get from
Janice, I think I'm going to take you want me to move Janice? Janice. Okay, I'm going to put this pad down for a minute, and I'm going to run over to the other side with our stuff and get it where there's some shade over there. So I'll be right back.
Okay. You can mute your. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to. Let me see if I can. Well, we'll just leave him. So when you build your own form, are you casting the plastic? Do you make like a lost wax cast?
no, you can, but I don't. It's just that working with the plastic is just too much of a mess when you're doing something like that. Now, if I were making a model that had to be presentation-wise, normally, like I say, we use closed cell styrofoam, and that's the stuff that you get at Lowe's or Home Depot. That's an insulation board. Just pull the aluminum off the sides of it and cut it up into pieces and start whittling it away.
So you're using X-Acto knives, or do you have a special set of knives for sculpting?
I use a scalpel. I use an X-Acto knives, but scalpel. Thing of it is, you got blades. So I got a big. I've got three boxes of 100 blades each, and for the regular X-Acto knife. I still have about 10 or 15 scalpel blades left. They work in a much easier way to go. I have a razor saw. A razor saw is a saw blade made from a double-edged razor blade. It's very fine. Use it for close-in work. I have a coping saw when I can find it. I'm thinking about ordering a new one because there's a new one out there. And it's smaller. Airbrushes, I got like 9 of them, and they all need to be cleaned right now.
You don't have a big pot you soak them in?
No, actually, I have it's a radio wave thing that you put.
Oh, yeah, sonic.
Yeah, it's a sonic cleaner. You put your
Right.
cleaning solution in it and turn it on and watch all the stuff vibrate out of it
Cool.
to the back. But I use a product called Chameleon, which was I learned from model railroaders. They use it to strip their cars and stuff before they repaint them and weather them. Clear
Hey,
picture,
Jordan.
Dave.
Can you still find the old micro beads anymore? I used to use those for the
Fella,
little coping around wing connections and things like that. I haven't been able to find them recently.
well, see, the thing with micro bubbles.
Yeah.
They come in different sizes, so you got to know what you want to use first. I use cyanoacrylate and I want to say talcum powder, which I have used, and that it makes it a little easier to sand down. Talcum powder is good.
So are you talking about making blades for a coping saw?
No,
Huh?
we're talking about making a fillet like
Fillet.
a connection between a wing and the body of an airplane. You mix the two together and you make a little fillet, and then you can sand it down. And it's really smooth.
Yeah.
Oh,
Usually for doing that, use epoxy, epoxy putty, and just slap it on, and then take a wet finger and wipe it down. And it's full.
Yeah.
So it's quick. The only thing is you got to wait usually about 24 hours with epoxy. Even the 5-minute stuff, you got to watch out for. One
Yeah,
thing you don't want to use is baking soda and cyanoacrylate. The gases, arsenic gas.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
All right.
Wouldn't want to do that.
No, one of the gentlemen I learned from was a doctor that used to work down at NIH downtown, and he wrote a book. Oh, him and another guy wrote a little pamphlet years ago about scale modeling, and and he since moved to Atlanta when he retired right out of the government. But you ask about special tools. Yeah, I got a whole thing full of dental tools,
right,
scrapers and
right,
stuff,
right.
dental drills, that type of stuff.
That sounds like a really exacting field, both art and technology. I wanted to ask Dave, have you gotten into modeling as an adult?
Well, what I did, let's see, I built U-controlled airplanes, a couple different kinds, and then I did some a glider, a 2-meter glider, and I did it mostly just for my own entertainment.
Were they remote controlled gliders?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them, I got it up so high that it was not a whole lot bigger than a speck, and it got caught in a thermal, and that sucker went up, and I had to go and put on the brakes and dive out of it because I was about ready to lose it.
I've seen that happen. They had American Aviation Society thing when we were going to school over at Andrews, and one of the guys had a gas-driven glider per se. And the gas would go so high and then the engine would cut off and it would just glide.
Yeah, it uses old 49 engines, yeah.
Well, I ended up somewhere over Richmond, Virginia, with a T-33 flying next to it.
Yeah. I lost one in the neighbor. I started flying quadcopters, those drones, and I got one that was meant for indoors. I took it outside, and the breeze took it into the oak trees. I went from house to house, trying to be a good neighbor, but nobody found it. I think some dog got it. But then I bought an on sale cheap DJI, I don't know, 300, with cameras and stuff, because I learned to do aerial photography and I really enjoyed that. But it was too difficult to fly. I couldn't develop the hand-eye coordination to control it, so I kind of gave it up.
Yeah,
We flew I did the gliders up in San Jose, and we lived near the bottom end of the valley. And so there was a big county park there, and I would go up on the side of the hillside there and launch it with about a 500-foot long surgical tubing thing that you throw it up in the air real high that way. And then
A slingshot.
and then it would float around up there in the sky above the park for a long time. So I finally gave up on it when they had a corral at the bottom end of the park, and the glider came in, and I was getting ready to land it into a nice little smooth area they had right near the corral when a gust of wind hit it, lifted it up in the air, and slammed it nose first into the fence.
Oh,
And it absolutely smashed the whole front end of the thing and the joint where the wings get hooked together. And I said, I'm not going to rebuild this sucker again one more time. So.
and here I thought you were going to tell us a bull chased you out of the corral.
No.
And ran over your glider.
No, my lack of skill in controlling an airplane drove me out of it.
Yeah, I've got neuropathy in all 4 limbs, so I just didn't have the hand-eye coordination. Of course, carrying a football, I didn't have the hand-eye coordination either. Too many concussions,
who else have we not seen in a while? Oh, I know. I was telling you I went over by ship to Vietnam, or maybe I didn't, but anyhow, went on a ship called the William S. Wiggle to Vietnam. William S. Wiggle was built during World War II, made one trip across the Pacific, came back, they put it in mothballs. Korean War started, they took it out of mothballs and made one trip across the Pacific and came back and put in mothballs again. Vietnam started, they took it out of mothballs. We left Fort Bragg, that's where I was stationed at, got into someplace in Oklahoma, and they set down while they refueled the plane, then flew on into Oakland and went to the Oakland Army Terminal, which goes down to the ship in San Francisco.
Right.
Well, across from San Francisco. And spent 3 days there, then headed out and went down the coast to San Diego. Well, we got outside of San Diego, the rudder broke, and they had to get it fixed because we were going around in circles out there in the sea. And then when
that was the ship, not the airplane, right?
The ship. And then we got into the harbor and we spent 3 days there. And you got 1,200 GIs on the ship, and we picked up 1,500 Marines. Went from there to, when we left there, we went to Okinawa, let most of the Marines off. went to Cameron Bay, let the rest of the Marines off, and went down to Vung Tau, and that's where the Army personnel got off at.
What did
Now,
you
the
do
thing I
in
didn't
Vietnam?
know- Huh?
George, what did you do in Vietnam?
Whatever they told me to do.
What was your branch? You weren't
U.S.
11.
Army, U.S. Army Stratcom, which is Strategic Communications,
Oh, okay. Okay.
which means that you're, I was in the headquarters and headquarters detachment. So I was on a base camp most of the time.
Right.
Except for the last 3 months I was there, then I was on courier flight every day.
So you're working with teletypes and radios and,
Teletypes, we set up we had we took over base communications from the 25th Signal Battalion, which is on 25th Infantry's base camp at Cu Chi, which is 20 miles northwest of Saigon and about 12 miles from the Cambodian border.
did you see any of the, of our classmates over there? Anybody that you knew?
Oh, yeah. Billy Adams. I picked him up
Really?
in Tonsanute.
Oh,
was-
darn.
He was hitchhiking across the country, I think, because he told me he had run into Phil Foster, and he come running around the chopper, and he reached to grab in, and I grabbed his hand and pulled him on up, and I said, "Hey, Bill." But he also he's the one that got us one hell of a ride coming back up from Tonsanute back to Cu Chi. He
Cool.
whipped out his movie camera, and next thing I know, I'm looking out the side of this helicopter, and we're below the dikes on the rice paddy fields. And there's only one tree between us and the end of the dike. Guy put the skids in the top of this tree. We pulled out of it, but yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah. Well, it's in fact, he was going to my outfit. His brother-in-law, what was his sister's name? Debbie? No, not Debbie. Bill's brother-in-law was stationed in one of our line companies. So he came up and spent the day with him. You know.
We have 1 minute to go, according to my,
One of
well,
the guys that I go for bike rides with, a guy named Denny Fulton, was in